Will this work? Alrighty, I think we are live officially. So we will go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to, I titled this as Shannon's Gut Healing Journey. The journey's not over. Um, but I'm thrilled to have everyone with us today. And thank you so much, Shannon, for being willing to come on and talk and share some of your experiences and history and all that good stuff. So first and foremost, I'm going to introduce myself for those of y'all that don't know, that might be joining us for the first time. And I think this is officially the first time we've gone live on the Facebook page. We do go live in our Facebook community group every week, and do different classes and topics, but this is the very first time live on the page. So Shannon, you should be honored. I'm honored to have you. Awesome. So for those that join us for the first time, I am April Blackford, and I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. And I have been in the health and fitness space for about 11, 12 years now. So, and I have my awesome client, Shannon here, and today we're going to talk about a little bit in regards to her gut healing journey and just the importance, and you'll see, based on some of her experiences and history of just how important gut health can be as a whole. And anybody that knows, well, anybody that's in our community, in our Facebook community, knows the importance of, we always harp in regards to the importance of gut health and making sure that, the gut is healthy and functioning and thriving, because it plays such a significant role in so many other systems within the body. So, there's a gut hormone connection, there's a gut brain connection, there's a gut immune connection. I could go on and on and on. So I have been, which I accept and honor, that I have been nicknamed in the past before, on several occasions, as the poop whisperer. And it actually, I kind of like it. It sounds a little clicky. But anyway, today is a special day because we are going to dive deep into the gut healing journey of Shannon. So welcome, Shannon. How are you feeling today? Would you like to give a quick hello to our audience?
Yeah, thank you, April. Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I'm on a spectrum of 0 to like 180. I've gone around the rotation several times since we started working together. So much better, more clarity, definitely no bloating, even foods before that I actually didn't get that were triggering bloating and kind of that indigestion and burping, which at times would be like, oh, I'm just kind of burping after dinner, that I realized that that's actually a sign of like some type of gut thing going on. So you've helped me immensely.
So can you tell the audience some of, like, prior to us working together and some of the work that we've done together, like, can you tell us just a little bit of, like, some of the struggles, and or like some of the symptoms that you were saying, like the burping and the bloating, is that just some of the things that you had noticed, or was there actually more?
Yeah, for sure. I've had eczema, skin condition for since like 2 or 3, and didn't really get that was like a strong connection actually till we connected April. So that's for me has been kind of the inflammation or the itching and scratching has been on kind of a roller coaster through my whole life. What else really stands out for me? Just that kind of like, and the bloating wasn't kind of like my stomach was growing, but it was just like, oh wow, like before I ate my lunch, my stomach, I looked at myself, it looked fine. But then after eating a certain meal, and it wasn't that I could actually know what it was. It would be like some days I don't notice anything. Some days it'd be like, wow, I actually feel like my clothes actually can't fit around my stomach. Like, why is that? Like, what did I just eat? And then in the morning, sometimes I would feel that same thing, like, or have like a ton of gas. and otherwise known as farting, and be like, oh wow, I can't go to this meeting or hook up with friends because like I have a lot of farting going on. So those are probably the things that I was just like, something's not right, but just tolerating it actually. I knew something wasn't right, but yeah, just being like, I don't know what to do.
And I want to, for everyone watching, there is the old saying, and it is so true, that our skin is a direct reflection as to the state of our gut. So for people out there that are experiencing itching, they have eczema, they have, the dry patches, the rash, the hives, the acne, adult acne, teen acne, all of that, that is a direct reflection of the state of our gut. And it's funny because I will see people like in a public place, and like I'm always very observant and I always notice things. And like I'll see someone with a dry patch on their arm, or, like an adult with like acne problems. And I think, I could probably help them fix that. um, and one thing I did want to highlight and touch on to everyone, and you were talking about, the bloating and the gas, and your pants not fitting after, random days or whatever. Is Shannon actually has and I'm not saying she's perfect, like, no, I don't think anybody's perfect, but Shannon has or had a very good base of habits for nutrition. Like
Mhm.
Shannon, when Shannon and I started working together, we worked together years ago, and she had great habits back then, and she still had good habits when we reconnected. She doesn't eat processed foods. She doesn't hit up the McDonald's drive-through on a regular basis. She had a really, really good base of healthy habits, nutrition habits. And I think that that is important for the audience to hear,
Mhm.
that, it's I hear it all the time of, some people will ask me advice, and they're like, I would like to, fix my gut or fix the problems, but I can't really, pull it together with my eating habits. Like
Mhm.
I like to drink beer too much, or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. And even the people out there that are eating healthy, and it's not normal to wake up in the morning and have abs, and by the end of the day you look like you're pregnant. That's not normal. So for everybody watching, that is not normal. Absolutely. And there is this Marge Simpson meme out there that she's like me first thing in the morning, and she's got like a six-pack of abs, and then later on that night she looks like she's pregnant, which I think is. But anyway, so okay, so let's talk about some of the milestones that you've achieved and the challenges that you've overcame so far in your gut healing journey.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I'll share with your audience. I'm also perimenopausal, so that actually really kind of ramped up my symptoms, and it was almost seemed like it was overnight. And when I look back, and I know you and I have had this conversation, it wasn't, but came to a point where like I can't tolerate these kind of random outbreaks, and I can't tolerate like not having my favorite meals, and so maybe something else is going on, because I worked with an acupuncturist for almost 2 years who helped the eczema, but it came to a point where she just like ran out of all her methods in which to support me.
Yeah.
So, where I've come from today is definitely being a perimenopausal woman, tolerating the majority of the meals that I eat. And you had me kind of take out things that were probably not working for me. And for me, that wasn't a big hurdle. Um, when you said, hey, try this, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I know what April's going to tell me is going to work. So I did that. And actually, it probably was 2 weeks, I remember. And I was like, wow, I feel different. And by different, I mean more energy, less of that, brain fog and waking up in the morning feeling refreshed. My sleep went way up. I do track my sleep. And so I saw my sleep score increase. So all the things that, being in perimenopause is good, which is being able to sleep well, rest at night. Also saw the night sweats actually decreased tremendously. And that was huge because I was waking up 4, 5, 6 times a night, like, whoa, drenched, turning on the fan, those kind of things, to where it's actually, I actually didn't wake up. So those are probably the things that for me were really big wins.
Yeah, Shannon and I were having a conversation, and for those of y'all watching, being in perimenopause, perimenopause, that's pre, during, post, that's basically around menopause, does not, for everybody out there, her and I were having this conversation, a lot of women just accept and think that, oh, okay, I'm in menopause and it's a death sentence of, I've got to accept this belly fat that I'm gaining. I've got to accept all these hot flashes. I got to, like, I'm going to get, at some point it's going to quit, right? And that they have to accept it, and you don't. Does menopause make things a little bit harder? Absolutely. It makes things a little bit more difficult, but it doesn't mean that, you have to just accept, weight gain, and accept, your energy low and your sleep is garbage, and, all that. There are strategies and ways to combat that. So okay, so as a functional practitioner, so I want to talk about. I kind of want to touch on the approach. So the very first thing that we did, so we had a conversation. The very first thing that we did in regards to her journey was, we did do. I do have a 7 day. Basically, it's like a 7 day kickstart reboot that we implemented, which pretty much takes out all of the inflammatory foods, to kind of boost your immune system. We did that for 7 days, and I think Shannon, I think I recall you reported back that you felt good. Like you
Mhm, mhm.
noticed that you felt
Yep.
better, doing that. Um, so we did that first, and then decided to order the GI map. And the GI map is a test that I use with all of my clients, especially perimenopausal women who are struggling with the similar symptoms that Shannon has had. Um, but I love this test because, number one, is a diagnostic test, and I get asked this all the time of, is this the same as tests that you can order, like you can order online and then they test? No, it's not the same. This is an actual diagnostic test. And I really, really like it because it is very, very in depth in regards to overall digestion. But more so, it has markers on there that gives us insight as to other systems. So it will test for bacteria pathogens. It will test your commensal bacteria, your opportunistic bacteria. It will test for viral infections. It will test for yeast. It will test for parasitic infections. But then it also will test for, like, it will give us insight as to how your liver is functioning, how your pancreas is functioning, how your immune system is working. Are you digesting wheat properly? Are you, and specifically, one of the markers that I always add on is the zonulin marker, because it gives us insight as to if gut permeability is present. And gut permeability, also known as leaky gut, which plays a major, major role, can play a major role in supporting, perimenopausal women, because, if leaky gut is present, then you're essentially not going to be absorbing, and processing the nutrients. You can eat all the healthy food that you want, but if that's present, then you're not going to be absorbing all the nutrients, which in turn is not going to properly support your hormones, or efficiently support your hormones. Um, so we did the 7 day reboot, ordered the GI map, and then once we got the results of that, I sat down with Shannon and went over, basically did a results and recommendation session, and we went over, all of the, which we're not gonna go into all of her details, but one of the things, and Shannon, you said that it was okay to share.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
so one of the things that it gave, it's well, it's not funny. I find it very insightful. Anytime I get a GI map result back, or anytime I get test results back, I get so excited. I'm like a kid at Christmas, because I'm like, ooh, let me go look and see. And as soon as I see it, I always have all these aha moments of aha, like that's why she was feeling like that. That's why. So I kind of got excited. But one of the things, the very first thing that popped out was you did test positive for H. pylori.
Mhm.
Now, prior to this test, did you have any knowledge or know what H. pylori was? Had you ever heard of it? Had you researched it or knew?
Yeah, two reasons. Yes, I do have a nursing background, so definitely. But my dad was actually diagnosed with H. pylori right when I started nursing school. So I'm not going to date myself, but obviously I'm not 20 anymore. So my dad had H. pylori and went through the traditional treatment. And then I was sharing with him actually when I found out after we had a call, and he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And he's been having issues and stuff away from what I'm dealing with. But I was stunned. I was just like, when you said, oh yeah, you want to do a GI map? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then when I saw the results, I was just like, really? I have H. pylori, like, and I did not think like that was going to be something that would yeah, that I had, because you just kind of just like, oh, I don't have the traditional symptoms. I looked it up online just to confirm, and like, yeah, I do have a little bit of bloating, but not the kind of a lot of pain and the rolling of the stomach and all of that. So, um,
So
yeah.
for everybody out there, just so you know, like H. pylori is a bacterial infection that burrows into the lining of the stomach, and over 50% of the world has been exposed or infected by H. pylori. H. pylori can be extremely invasive, and it actually has been characterized or classified as a class one carcinogen because it is a predisposer to peptic ulcers and also stomach cancer. Now the thing with H. pylori is that when it first becomes basically when it first becomes present and it starts to grow, the stomach will or the stomach will naturally shunt stomach acid to kind of protect itself. It will naturally shunt stomach acid, and then when it's been around for a while, then we usually see the environment becomes too acidic, and a lot of times reflux, indigestion, the bloating, the acid coming up, all of those are usually signs. And a another symptom is pain, or a weird gurgling in your stomach when your stomach's empty. Like specifically
Mm.
when it's empty, like it's very noticeable. Like I notice that, when my stomach is empty, that I have this weird pain, or that's usually an indicator. So that was one of the things that stood out. Along there was, a pretty significant overgrowth of opportunistic bacteria, and there was, we needed to kind of give a little bit of love to the commensal bacteria. And for those of y'all out there, the opportunistic is kind of referencing like the bad bacteria. The commensal is the good bacteria, which, I have clients all the time, and they're like, oh, we need to get rid of the opportunistic, like all of it. I'm like, no, 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 we need it. Like we need the bad guys and we need the good guys. We just need a balance of the two. We need more good than bad, but I mean, it's okay to invite, it's okay to have the bad ones in there because they actually are what makes our, the immune system within our gut strong, and kind of helps protect us from, pathogens and bacteria and things like that. So after we got the results, what I did was I went over all the results with Shannon, and then we end up doing developing a protocol specifically for her. Now, and the protocol is basically the 5R protocol, which the different steps are. The first one is we remove stressors and gut irritants, from the gut, because ultimately the best analogy that I usually give is that if I had this little paper cut like right near this area on my finger a couple of weeks ago, and it was pretty deep, and it just could not heal because of where it was at. And I just kept hitting it over and over again, and I actually had to cover it and protect it for it to actually be able to heal. Similar situations, if you are trying to heal a certain area, then or something specific in your body, you need to remove those irritants and stressors out, because you're going to, it's number one, it will be able to, it'll be quicker to heal, but you'll have a better success at healing by doing that. And I do want to say that when we remove things out, it's not forever. I get people that they always ask me, they're like, is this forever? I'm like, no, no, it's not forever. It's not forever. Now your body might tell us otherwise with certain foods, but that's beyond my control. I can't control that. So the second step is to replace nutrients, bile and stomach acid. So we actually focused on supporting things, where we needed to. So things that she was, that the test showed us that she was lacking, we actually kind of gave a little bit of assistance there. The third one is to re-inoculate with pre and probiotics. So we kind of rebuild the gut flora, once we, kind of knock out the too many of the bad guys, kind of the bad guys are kind of taking over. And once we knock out, all of those, the numbers, then we focus on kind of reflourishing and rebuilding the good guys. And do that through pre and probiotics. And then we repair in the intestinal wall. That is like super, super important. That is a very important step, because without repairing the intestinal wall, ultimately we're going to kind of end up in the same vicious cycle, and the intestinal wall is essentially the mucosal barrier that lines the digestive tract. Because without having, it's without having strong, border control is what we're going to call it. Without having strong border control, bad guys are going to be able to get in, and it's basically your foundation is weak, which ultimately we don't want. And then the last is to rebalance lifestyle. And we, like I said, we remove foods, and then remove foods or just irritants as a whole, and then we reintroduce and start adding them back in, because a lot of these protocols are not meant to be long term. There's certain different diets, that specific types of diets that would actually support, certain types of findings. Like if there's a yeast overgrowth, there's a diet for that. If there's an opportunistic overgrowth, there's a diet for that. And I have had conversations with people before, and they basically have been like, well, I've been on low FODMAP for 5 years. And I'm like, why have you been on low FODMAP for 5 years? Like, nobody should ever be on low FODMAP for 5 years. Like, we are not meant to be in this restrictive, state long term. Not only does it affect our lifestyle, or life as a whole affects our mental health, but it also, can affect, our nutrient balance. We can be deficient on nutrients with not having, a balanced variety, of food in our diet. So that is super, super important. I just want to say that, because anytime I've ever heard that, I've been blown away. I'm like, you've been on low FODMAP for 5 years. Oh my gosh, like, please stop. No, we need to stop. Anyway, so far, like, how has the journey impacted your life as a positive note? Anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything is, it's like, not being able to get up in the morning and be like, yeah, I have my day plan and I see that I can actually execute. It's like I have my life back. Going to the gym was always important to me, and now like doing that is I can do it with ease. Not that the workouts are easy, but it's like I'm motivated to go. Probably the other big thing that I've really noticed is using the sauna. And before I would use it, I'd be like totally wiped out, like, whoa. Now it's like I feel refreshed and energized after being in the sauna. And so the protocol that I'm following is like 2 20-minute sessions with a 3-minute cool cold soak in between. And I get out of there and it's kind of like, my day's just starting. So it's like a breath of fresh air almost. So those two things have been really a big change that I've noticed.
Agree. And just so everyone knows, like the sauna, that is a great tool for just overall detoxification with the body, like just in general, and making sure, the body is detoxing when you are eradicating pathogens and, parasites and yeast and, things like that. Like, it is so, so important that the body is properly, basically, the detoxification pathways are open. Because if not, you're just going to feel like poop. You're going to feel like, you're going to feel horrible, and those things should not make you feel bad. And one of the best ways of detoxification in the body is our skin. Like, our skin, that's the biggest organ. It's the largest organ that we have. A lot of people don't think of the skin as an organ, but it's the largest organ, and it is one of the biggest opportunities for detoxification in the body. So those of y'all that hate to sweat, like, embrace it, because it's a good thing. So now I'd like to kind of open the floor and see if anybody has any questions, and I'm gonna look and see. I don't think, it doesn't look like, so far it doesn't look like we have any questions. Um, yeah, no, it doesn't look like we have any questions. Um, I would like to kind of thank everybody. If anybody has any questions after the fact, you can just post a comment, on the video. You can direct message me if you have any questions. Whatever method is easier. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and thank you so much, Shannon, like, for coming and sharing. That's a lot. Some people like to keep it private, but I think you're super awesome in that, you want to kind of pay it forward and help others and give others hope to know that, like, you don't have to just accept, feeling like poop and menopause. Like, you don't have to, like, it's you don't have to just accept it. It's not normal. Um,
Yeah, having the being perimenopausal and having gut health issues, I was even just talking with my friends, they're just like, oh, I kind of feel like shit like that. And I'm just like, yeah, get your gut checked out. So there's no reason to suffer in silence and think like, my life is kind of like over. It's just like, it's just the beginning. So yeah.
agree. And I think a lot of people, the last thing I'll say, I think a lot of people, they struggle with a little bit of that vulnerability, because when you start talking
Mhm.
about the gut, you start talking about digestion, you start talking about farting, you start talking about poop, like, some people can be a little bit shy. You know,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
it's it's a natural thing. We all do it. It's everybody poops, everybody poops. That's like, years ago, I used to know a gal. She had made a comment that she never farted, and I was like, that is a lie. Everybody farts. Everybody farts. I was like, even if you're holding it in, it still comes out. It seeps out. Like, everybody farts. Like, it is a natural thing. Now, sometimes some people do it more than others, but it's totally normal. So, for those of y'all watching, don't be embarrassed. If you're struggling with anything, reach out to me. Like I said, you can direct message me. We can, link up and have a discovery call, see if I can, may be able to help you, may not be able to help you. You never know. We can jump on a call just to see, what's possible. So thank you so much, Shannon, for joining. And
My pleasure.
have to follow up later on, because I would actually love to have you back on later on to have like a follow up of, say, like a year later, of like, how do you
Yeah,
feel now, but
sure.
the healing, the gut healing, it, usually when you start the journey, you'll notice, like, noticeable differences, but then as time goes on, you continue to notice differences, but then it's almost like, say like a year later, that you look back and be like, wow, like, I really freaking
Mhm.
feel good now, like,
Mhm.
I can't believe, like, I never want to feel like that again, or, I
Mhm.
can't believe I felt that way for so long, and now I just feel so good, now I can
Mhm.
live life and have fun and do all the things.
Mhm.
So, but thank you so much, and we will hopefully have you back on in the future.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.